we can cram our day so full of tasks that we are simply exhausted by the end of the day and have run ourselves dry without giving ourselves any time for joy, any time for play, any time for relaxing. And we need those things too, because if you don't, then your life is just about fulfilling tasks. And that's not the point. The point is to live a good life, to live your life well, to enjoy your life.
Welcome to Breakthrough Mode, the podcast where we intentionally get into the driver's seat of our lives, shift out of monotony and mediocrity, and step on the gas towards becoming the person we were always meant to become.
Hello and welcome to Wednesday in the Wild on the Breakthrough Mode podcast. I am your host, Megan Bauer. Thank you so much for joining me and pushing play on today's episode. If you're new to the podcast, Wednesday in the Wild is the segment of the podcast where we take personal development out of the studio and into real life and really chat about how to implement these things so that we live a better life, because that's the point. We get to have continual improvement. We get to continually get better at things, and we get to continually improve our life. That is a great privilege and a joy of life, is that you get to continually improve. And sometimes it's hard to implement. We can learn all of the things, we can learn all of the theories, we can learn all of the tactics, we can know why things are important, and it can still be difficult to put into practice in our own life so that it actually makes a difference. Because it won't make a difference unless you actually put it into practice in your life. So this week, we are focused on decluttering in our minds. And I get that this is a really abstract one because there are no visual cues that you are making progress. However, you will feel the difference. And that is why I titled this week From Chaos to Conscious, because we are taking the chaos that is often in our heads and we are making conscious choices to decide what to do with all of the things that are living in our head and clearing space. Although it's not literal physical space, it is a space that you will feel. It's a space that will feel like peace, or it will feel like a lack of pressure or a lack of being hurried or rushed. It will just feel like you have time, you have space, you can breathe a little bit. So I've noticed in my life, like as I was gearing up for recording this episode, I thought, where do I feel the most chaos in my head over what sorts of things? Now, I often feel chaos in my head around time because I have a really interesting relationship with time, and I don't feel the passing of time like some people do. So that's one of the reasons why my episodes can be so long, is because I can feel like I'm just talking for a few minutes and then I look at the time and I'm like, oh my word, it's been 17 minutes. I really should wrap this up here. But because I don't feel the passing of time the way most people do. And so one of my very favorite things is to simply set a timer. I can look at the clock and I'd be like, okay, I have 15 minutes until I have to leave. And so I set a 15-minute timer, and then I know that I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to think about it. Keeping track of time does not have to take space in my head because I know my timer is going to go off and I trust that my timer is going to go off. And so it's not something that needs to take up any space in my head. I also set the GPS pretty much whenever I'm going somewhere and I need to be there at a certain time. And so that I can keep checking with the GPS that I've got plenty of time. I've got plenty of time, rather than looking at the clock and trying to do math while I'm driving, making sure that I have enough time. I just set it, even if I don't follow it, simply for the time tracking feature because I know that if I don't, this worry about being somewhere at a certain time will just take up space in my head. So instead, I release that. I don't allow it to take up space in my head. I set timers, I plug in my addresses for the GPS, and I use these external things to keep track of time for me. So time is a big one for me in taking space in my head. The another thing that is a really big one for me is trying to remember to do things or remember ideas or remember to reach out to somebody or to respond to a text message or something. I have a big box of things to remember. And this takes up a massive amount of space, especially when I get ideas or when I do need to reach out to somebody or there's tasks that haven't made it on any list and I'm still holding them in my head. This is also a really easy one to solve because all you have to do is give these things a place to live. And if you give them a place to live, a place that you will regularly turn back to, regularly check in with, then you don't have to keep them in your head. You've got this list that you can turn to on that regular basis and you can remember the things. So in the back of my planner, I have a list of podcast ideas or email ideas or content ideas. And so every time I get one of these ideas, sometimes I don't have my planner with me, so I'll text myself. If you don't know that you can text yourself, then that's a really great one. I text myself all the time to remember things. So I can text myself and then later that evening I can go through my own text messages and write them down where they belong, where their specific place to live is so that anytime I'm like, "Oh, I need a podcast topic," I can turn to this page in my planner for podcast topics. I text myself ideas about things most of the time. And then there's a scheduling text feature that you can use to schedule texts out when you need to text somebody, but it's 4:45 in the morning and you don't want to actually send it. Sometimes I actually send it anyway as an accident, but you can schedule out text messages to alleviate that. In addition to the ideas that I get and the people that I need to text, I also have this list in my head that starts to get rather long about all of the things that I need to do. And I remember one time I was thinking about my to-do lists and realizing that I would write things down on the list and they wouldn't actually get done. I wouldn't actually do them. And they would just end up on another list and another list and another list. And this moving of tasks from list to list to list also takes up space because every time it shows up on your list, you have this micro hit of like, oh, I still need to do that. I still haven't taken care of it. And it gets heavier the farther down the list it goes. So I had this realization one day. And it was kind of mind blowing to me when I realized it. And I'm offering it to you. And you're going to be like, well, duh, Megan. But I want you to take a look at your own behavior with your own lists and see if you see it at play. Because if you implement this one thing, it will make a massive difference. So here's what I realized as I was moving things from list to list to list, from day to day to day. I realized if I fully intended on completing each thing on my list every single day, I would make some substantial progress. Like I would really get things done. And then the trick is that when you're making your list, you actually have to fully intend to do each thing. because I was in a place where I was putting things on my list more to not forget about them than rather to actually do them that day. That's not actually helpful. It doesn't actually close any loops. So it's better to have like a running list of all of the things that need to get taken care of at some point. maybe maybe this week, maybe this month, maybe this quarter. And then on your daily list to only put on there the things that you fully intend to do. And when you decide that you fully intend to do it, it actually gives you more power to tackle those things because you've decided already that you're doing this thing. So then when you're like, oh, but I actually don't want to do it, or I'm tired, or whatever, you have decided that those things don't matter when it comes to whether or not you're going to do it. They're just noise in the way of you doing the thing that you said that you were going to do. So the benefit here is twofold. One, you actually get things done. And the second is you are putting an incredible amount of intention into your tasks for that day. And when you have intention around the tasks that you have for that day, you're not just going with the wind, whatever feels good, whatever you feel like you want to do. You are doing the things that actually have high value for you because you've set the intention. You know why you're doing them, you know why they're important, and then you'll actually follow through on them. Of course, you get to make the choice to put all of the things on your list, even intending to do them, and then still not do them. Of course, you have that option. But when you do that, you also lack the benefit of things getting done, those loops closing, and that space being freed up. So there are three things. One, you need to write them down. Don't let these things live in your head. Find a safe place for them, for your ideas, for the things you need to do, for your schedule and appointments. Find a safe place for these things to live and then make it a habit on when you turn to those lists so that you can actually have confidence that they have a safe place to live and you're not losing where they are living at the same time. Because if you write things down and you have this feeling of like, yeah, but then I'm going to lose this list, so I still better remember it, it's not going to actually help you. They need a safe place to live that you will return to, that you will check back with. Then the other thing is fully intend to complete your to do list every day. And this is less to box you in and more about getting things done and knowing when you've hit this point of like free time. Because we can cram our day so full of tasks that we are simply exhausted by the end of the day and have run ourselves dry without giving ourselves any like time for joy, any time for play, any time for relaxing. And we need those things too, because if you don't, then your life is just about fulfilling tasks. And that's not the point. The point is to live a good life, to live your life well, to enjoy your life. You need to have things in your day that refuel you and that rejuvenate you and that lift you up and just feel good. So you need those things too. So it always feels so good when I have made a list fully intending to complete everything on that list and completing that and then finding that I have time to do whatever I want to do because I know that today I took care of what I needed to take care of and tomorrow I'll do the same thing. So now I can really just play and enjoy and relax and be in the moment because I know that everything for today was taken care of. So that is a huge benefit of this. I hope that you take this into your practice, into however it is you approach your day, your week, your month, your quarter, your life. I hope that you take some of these tactics, some of these tools, and implement them so that you can free your mind up, so that you can really create your experience intentionally without all of the chaos and all of the noise that doesn't need to be there because you can put them somewhere else. Thank you for joining me today. I totally love you. Bye for now.